So let me start with the lecture. We are doing with the magnetic effects of current in continuation only. And in the previous lectures, we have discussed Biot-Savart law, Ampere circuitous law, and Lorentz force also. That this topic is there. Lorentz force, we have discussed that whenever we make a charged particle to move in a uniform magnetic field, then what type of motion the charged particle is going to have. This is specially mentioned in your syllabus. You need to know motion of a charged particle in a uniform magnetic field. So whenever a charged particle is having a charge q and is entering, having the velocity v, we are seeing, and uniform magnetic field b is there, then this is by Lorentz force, magnetic force. We have already discussed in the previous lectures that it is given by q v cross b. And because v cross b is there, so direction of the force is going to be, of course, perpendicular to v and b. So if I am holding it like this, or if you want to find by the right hand screw rule also, you can find. So if in this diagram you see the crosses are equidistant, that is simply showing you a uniform magnetic field. But of course, if I want to write this v cross b in terms of the angle theta, then I can write the force magnitude. I can write it will be given by qvb sine theta. Theta is, of course, the angle between v and b, means the velocity vector and the magnetic field, direction of the magnetic field. If it is outward, then we show by dot. If it is inward, we show by cross. Cross means magnetic field is into the paper, perpendicular to it. Now, if velocity is 0, of course, if the particle is not moving at all, if speed is 0, or I can say velocity is 0, the particle is at rest, then of course the force will not be exerted. That should be clear in your mind. Of course, and the second thing we can say that if theta is 0, it means the particle is moving in parallel to the magnetic field, or it can be anti-parallel. Theta is 180. Then also your sine 0 or sine 180 is 0, so force exerted will be 0. So if theta is 0, it is parallel, or even if it is anti-parallel, then also the force, magnetic force, will be equals to 0. Now the special thing which is there with you, that if it is perpendicular to the magnetic field, it means velocity is perpendicular to the magnetic field. Magnetic field is acting inward. We have shown by the cross. Equispaced crosses simply show that the field is uniform. If they are not equispaced, then or I can show by equispaced dots. That means outward force, and then if it is outward force, then also you can find the direction of the force at every point. Speed at a point is shown, velocity vector is shown if it is like this, and the field is into the paper, then of course you have to curl your finger of the right hand and my right hand screw rule, then thumb is pointing this way as it is shown in the diagram. So if the particle is here, then if you are taking the particle here and then you turn, then again it will come inward. So force will be always coming inward this way, and it is going to complete the circle like this. If supposingly this is this, but the particle is outward, dot hai, then the field will be in this direction, force will be in this direction, then the circle will be completed in this particular direction. So it moves along the circular path, but which side you will be moving, making the circular path, that will depend upon the magnetic field, whether it is inward or it is outward. But it has been seen that if the velocity is perpendicular to the magnetic field, then the particle moves along the circular path. And you can see theta is 90. Then of course, if I want to write the magnitude of the force, it is given by QVB. F is perpendicular to V and B. We can find the direction by using right hand screw. And this magnetic force is providing the centripetal force, and the particle is able to move in the circular path. And if we suppose that let r is the radius of the circular path and small m is the mass of the charged particle, then you can say that centripetal force, it is equals to magnetic force. And you know the formula for centripetal force, it is mv square by r, and magnetic force is qvb. So if you equate, you can find the value for the radius of the circular path, which is coming out to be mv divided by qb. Q is the charge on the particle, V is the value of the magnetic field, M is the mass of the charged particle, V is the velocity with which it is moving. So if everything is given to you in some numerical question, you should be able to find the radius. Or if they give you the radius, they can ask you to find the velocity or anything depending upon what they want to ask. This is just to revise the right hand screw rule. You may take right hand thumb rule. You may take whatever method you may take, either by curl method or by this method, by finger method if you are taking. Then if this forefinger is exerting the magnetic field, the central finger is giving you the speed, then the force will be given perpendicular to both. So whether it is B and V, they are perpendicular or not, but F, magnetic force, always acts perpendicular to this plane consisting of V and V. That should be clear to you. This right hand rule is important for you. Now, so you need to see this thing, that now the linear motion due to x component is also there, due to which it will be having the path like helix path will be followed along the direction of B. So helix will be followed along the direction of your magnetic field. And if you want to find the linear distance which is traveled by the charged particle, then you can say that it is equals to pitch, which is given by the component of velocity in the direction multiplied the time period capital T. So this V1 is V cos theta into 2 pi m divided by QV. So you can write it as 2 pi mv cos theta divided by. So this is the value of pitch. You all should be knowing the pitch is always the linear distance traveled when one complete rotation is given to the circular path. So when one complete rotation you are giving, you can always find the pitch. That will means the velocity in the horizontal direction, in the linear direction, into the time period of revolution. So you need to simply multiply with the things, and hence you can work out with the things. Clear बच्चे with all of you? Do I need to repeat beta? This time period of revolution T, that is of course circumference divided by speed, which is given by 2 pi rv, 2 pi r divided by the speed. So you are getting 2 pi m divided by qb. This is the case when the theta is 90 and r we have already calculated. Then frequency of revolution you can always calculate, it is equals to 1 by t, and I can write this frequency as cyclotron frequency because the same concept we are using in the cyclotron. But when it is making an angle theta, then I am resolving this velocity into components v1 along the direction of b, v2 perpendicular to it. Along the direction will only help me to find the linear distance traveled along this direction, and perpendicular component is giving me the radius of the circular path. So I am getting mv sine theta divided by qb, and time period of revolution t, it is equals to 2 pi r divided by v2. v2 is v sine theta. So time period 2 pi m upon qb is same as it was in the second case when theta is 90. But as a result, the particle is moving in the circle as well as it is moving along the line. So the path which is followed is in the form of a helix. So path followed is in the form of helix. So you may remember this, that the helix is formed and the circle, and then it is moving along the linear path also. So both the paths are there along the line as well as circle. So you can be asked to find the pitch. Of course, you can find simply by multiplying the velocity along the horizontal direction multiplied with the time period, means the period of revolution. And then you are getting the result 2 pi mv cos theta divided by qb. Now, if I'm making the body to move and the both magnetic and electric field which are perpendicular to each other. So, if an electron is taken and I'm making it to move like this, and this is magnetic field cross sign, and electric field is given by showing you the two plates. One is positive plate and other is negative plate. It means it is connected to battery to give the charge, and as a result electric field is going to get produced. And when electric field is produced, it can be produced by high frequency oscillator. So if I'm taking the electron, will always move towards the positive plate, and trajectory we have already studied. Because of the electric field, it is going to get deviated, and S I can calculate by using the second equation of motion. If and acceleration can be calculated. Electric force is given by E into capital E, electronic charge into the electric field, while the magnetic field is given by EVB. And when both are acting perpendicular to each other, then this arrangement is actually used to select a velocity or for velocity filter. So whatever is the deflection produced by the electric field, that same should be produced by the magnetic field in the opposite direction, and as a result the electron beam, it goes undeflected. So for making the beam undeflected, I have to adjust the values of the electric field and the magnetic field so that both these forces are becoming equal. And when electric force and the magnetic force are equal, I can find the velocity. It is coming out to be E upon B. So this arrangement is known as velocity selector or velocity filter, and is used to find the specific charge. It was used by J.J. Thomson to find the specific charge, or you can say E upon m ratio of the electron. So this is one thing which is of course not specially mentioned in your syllabus. And similarly cyclotron, just to give you the idea, here also I am having two Ds, hollow Ds are there, like spheres are there which are hollow from inside, and they are kept parallel to each other in the magnetic field. And we allow the charged particle like helium particles or the hydrogen heavy particles, heavy charged, positively charged particles, they are made to move in these Ds. And of course, because we have seen time period is independent of the speed, but if you want to find the speed, you can always find, and the direction of the force you can find by left hand rule, as we have already discussed. So we are not much detail of the cyclotron. This is just to speak about that if I want to find the time period, that is equals to the time taken to twice of the time taken in a single D. So twice of T. And this formula of T you can find by half of the circumference of the circle. It means circumference of the semicircle divided by the speed. And speed already we know, so we can find all the things if required. Cyclotron frequency, that I have already said, that is BQ upon 2 pi m. So basically we are using the concept of the motion of the charged particle in the cyclotron in the J.J. Thomson experiment also to find the specific charge. So motion of the charged particle should be clear, and you should be able to find the values for the time period as well as frequency. If asked kinetic energy, if asked momentum, whatever they ask you can find, because if you know the V, which is BQR upon M I am getting, so I can find the momentum which will be possessed by the charged particle. So though not directly but indirectly they may ask you the questions, so that is why only I have just wrote the formulas for you. So you can always keep all these things in mind. Question for you is, you have to prove that the work done by a magnetic force on a charged particle is always zero. Work done by a magnetic force on a charged particle is always zero. You can, you know the formula for the magnetic force. F it is equals to QV cross B. And of course, this force is acting perpendicular to the velocity. So if it is acting perpendicular to the velocity, it means dot product with the velocity has to be zero by your knowledge of the dot product of vectors. And this value of force I have written QV cross B dot V should be equals to 0. But if you use Newton's second law, then force is given by ma, or I can say m dV by dt. So F dot V, if you wish to find the value of F, is m dV by dt dot V. Now this dV by dt dot V, I can write it as 1 by 2 of, if I write dV by dt dot V, or I write V dot dV by dt, the result is same, which is simply by taking d by dt of V dot V. V dot V means first as it is, derivative of second, second as it is, derivative of first. So I can write it this way. And if I write this way, then V dot V, it is equals to V square. Dot product of a vector with itself is gives me square of that. So I can write d by dt of V square by 2. So I am able to write F dot V as d by dt of m as it is constant, and this term I can write it as d by dt of V square by 2. So this d by dt I have taken out, and this value is nothing but kinetic energy. Half mv square is kinetic energy. Value is nothing but kinetic energy. Half mv square is kinetic energy. So I can write it as dk by dt, where k is the kinetic energy. And by work energy theorem, your work done, it is equals to change in kinetic energy. So when k is constant, it means your your work done will come out to be 0, because there is no change in the kinetic energy. So it means work done will be 0. So by this method only you can prove that work done by a magnetic force on a charged particle is always 0. Clear? Okay, I am reading the next question for you. This is all on the motion of the charged particles I have taken. An electron is moving horizontally with a velocity of 4 into 10 raised to the power 4 meter per second. This is the velocity, which is entering a region of uniform magnetic field 10 raised to the power minus 5 Tesla. This is the value of the magnetic field is given. You can write always in the beginning of the solution whatever things are given to you in the question. And it is acting in the downward, vertically downward direction. It means into the paper shown by the crosses. Draw its trajectory and find the time it takes to come out of the region of the magnetic field. So electron is entering the magnetic field, uniform magnetic field, the value is given. So when it is moving perpendicularly, then of course we have discussed that mv square by r is equals to qvb. Centripetal force and magnetic force will be equating each other. So I can use even this formula directly if I do remember, or otherwise you can equate at that time to find r, it is equals to mv upon qb. And when you have to put the values for m, because mass of the electron 9.1 into 10 to minus 31 kg, V is given 4 into 10 to power 4, Q charge of the on the electron is 1.6 into 10 to minus 19, and B is also given in the question 10 raised to the power minus 5 Tesla. In case if there is something unit wise some problem is there, you always take care, you need to convert it into SI units. And then you work out with the thing simply, and I am getting the answer 22.7 into 10 raised to the power minus 3 meter. Now second part is time taken to come out of the region. Now it goes inside like in cyclotron. It is moving a semicircle, because then it will enter into the second D if it is a cyclotron. But here it is coming back, coming out. So it is moving along the semicircular path. So distance traveled will be equals to circumference of semicircle. And semicircle circumference is pi r. If you divide it with the velocity v, I will be able to get the time simply by putting the values. Pi is 22/7. R is, we have calculated 22.7 into 10 to minus 3, and V is given 4 into 10 raised to the power 4. So you can put the values and you can calculate the answer, which is coming out to be 1.8 into 10 raised to the power minus 6 second. So this way you can come across the questions. Next question for you is, a proton is projected in a magnetic field of 0.02 Tesla, which is traveling along a helical path of radius 5 centimeter. Now this is when it is making some angle theta. It means it's not, theta should be given. If they are not giving theta, of course for this I can write V2 or V perpendicular component, and I can find the V perpendicular component, because they are asking to find the component of velocity along and perpendicular to the magnetic field. It means parallel to the magnetic field as well as perpendicular. Both components of velocity they are asking. And they are giving you the value of pitch, of course. They are giving you the radius of the circular path. Mass of the proton is also given in the question. So you have to use your knowledge. For the radius of helical path, it is equals to r mv sine theta upon qb. In place of mv sine theta, we are writing this as V2 or V perpendicular component, and I will be able to find the V perpendicular component from here, which is equals to R QB divided by M. R is given in centimeters, so you will convert it into meters. It means 5 into 10 raised to the power minus 2 meter. Velocity, charge is given. Velocity I have to find, of course. Charge is given 1.6 into 10 to minus 19 coulomb, and magnetic field is given 0.02 Tesla. That value I can put. Mass of the proton also we can put. That value is 1.6 into 10 to minus 27 kg. So on solving, I am getting the answer 1 into 10 raised to the power 5 meter per second. Similarly, if we have to find the period of revolution, time period, that is 2 pi r divided by the perpendicular component of velocity, then I can find the time period. It is coming out to be pi into 10 raised to the power minus 8 second. And I know pitch, it is parallel component of the speed into the time period by the definition of pitch. So I can find the velocity parallel component will be given by pitch divided by the time period. And that is why I need to find time period of revolution, so that I can find the parallel component of velocity. Pitch is given in the question 20 into 10 to minus 2, and T we have calculated. So I can put the values and I can come up with the results. So you need to keep things up to this. Thank you everyone.